So, do you get tired of the rapture date setters? So, there are some rapture date setters out again. It's tiring. Let me back up first, though, before we talk about that, and kind of let you know that I have 5 or 6 more best of series to record, and some of those are going to be more challenging. And the reason I'm sharing that is one of the passages I'm going to share today is something that you need to think about. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. So, back to the rapture date setters that are out again, giving dates for this summer. Even when I believed in a pre tribulation rapture, I was smart enough to recognize what the scriptures say about who would know when it is. So if Jesus doesn't even know, I don't think Cooter should have any idea as well. I'm just making up that name Cooter. But a lot of times, people use, and I've quoted this as well myself, but I've never said this was God speaking. And I've said it's interesting because we see David in Psalm speaking about the length of a generation. And yes, Israel became a country in 1948, and 70 years has come and passed, but 80 years, we are nearing that. But this isn't prophecy. This isn't something God said. This is something David said. So Psalm 90, verse 10, the days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength, they are 80 years. It's interesting because we are coming up on the 80-year anniversary of the country of Israel, and since so much of the scriptures is all about them, but it's interesting. It's interesting. It doesn't mean for certain that is when everything is going to happen. I've shared that passage before, but I've never said it was prophecy. I've said it's interesting. But we know that Jesus does not even know when he's going to return because the Bible tells us that. So that is something that you need to think about with these people who are these pre-rapture date setter people, that if Jesus doesn't know, how could Jim Bob or Cooter or whoever she is, whoever, how could they know if Jesus doesn't know? Does that even make sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So that's one of the things that's lacking is logic and reason, is that when people state that they know, if Jesus doesn't know, how would they know? So let's kind of get to the scripture passage. So here in the book of Matthew, there's a lot of things that Jesus is speaking about. He's speaking about, when he returns. But Matthew 24, verse 36. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So Jesus is saying here, and this is why I talked a little bit about some of those best of series that are coming up. Jesus is saying, but my Father only. So I want you to think about this for a moment. Jesus is saying only God knows when Jesus is going to return. Jesus doesn't even know. So how can Jesus and God be the same? Because you can't say, well, one part of him knows when the other part of it doesn't. Jesus says, I don't even know when it's going to be. The only one that knows is my dad, and I will know when he sends me. So if you are listening to somebody who's setting a date for the pre-tribulation rapture, please stop listening to these people. It's so tiring. If they read the words of scripture, they would know. There's no way they could know. Jesus doesn't even know. So having said that, I want you to keep in mind how it's possible they would know if Jesus doesn't know, and how come Jesus says that he doesn't know, only his Father. Armor up, we ride at dawn. May God bless you as always. Have a great day.